market fit is a term, as far as I know, was coined by Mark Andreessen in 2007. But I mean, it kind of got summed up by John's first two problems, which is have a good idea, a good product that solves a big enough market, their problem. You need to gain the market's affection in some way with a good product. Now that seems pretty simple and straightforward, but to be honest, I'll tell you, it's a lot of work. It's an uphill battle, and even when you think you've got it, you still have something more to learn and a new step to go through. So before I go any further, I'll just introduce myself. Hi, I'm Janna. I'm co-founder and CEO of ProdPad, which is a SaaS tool for product road mapping and product management, and also co-founder of these other logos you can't see. Mine the product community and the events and the product tanks. So I see a bunch of friendly faces here, so good to see you all again. Hi. And I'm also a mentor, product consultant, and help out wherever I can with startups and other people. So this is something I heard really early on. Getting your first 10 customers is the hardest. And you know what they mean by this is 10 customers who are unrelated, who are paying you money, and who aren't your mom. That's hard. But you know what? This is an absolute lie. This is not the hardest part. And I remember, trying to get our first 10 customers, and it took us months. And it was a really big struggle to go from trial through to paid, especially with a product that obviously wasn't finished yet and was buggy and all other sorts of things. But I remember when we hit that goal, saying 10 people, great, we're done. Let's start scaling. Let's start just selling this to everybody. This will be great. And it's a lie. It gets a lot harder after that point. So product market fit is way beyond 10 customers. I know they kind of use that as a first step, but I think they tell that to entrepreneurs just to kind of give them this achievable goal. Keep going, you're doing a good job. But really product market fits, classically, you'll probably think it's closer to about 1,000 customers before you really hit that initial scale and you start doubling down, ratcheting up your sales team, and moving up from there. Few reasons. Number one, you are not your market. Now, ProdPad was built by 2 product managers, and we built it to solve our own problems. We thought, yeah, this is simple. We don't have to talk to anybody but ourselves. Let's just build it away. And it was originally built as a tool just for ourselves and as an internal use only thing. And as soon as we started getting it out there to other people, we realized that we'd done a lot of things wrong and made some big assumptions and ended up having to throw away months of work. And that hurt, that sucked. And the other thing to remember is that your early customers are also not your market. And you might think they are. You've got those 10 customers and they're paying you money and you don't know who they are, so it's got to be good. But the problem with early customers is that they're early adopters. They're the type of people to put up with a beta. They're the type of people to put up with an unfinished product just because they want to be early. They're happy with that. And beta users and launch rock signups, these are also not your market. The problem with beta testers is that beta testers are great at testing betas. They're great at finding problems and letting you know about them, but they're also more savvy than your other typical users. They know their way around, they've got a higher tolerance, and they're not going to give up in frustration like normal people would. They'll actually tell you what's going on and give you a little bit more encouragement. That's not your market. And the other thing to remember is that a purchase does not necessarily equal a fit. Just because somebody's bought your tool, if you're charging a business, B2B software, and you're charging less than a couple $100 a month, people will happily sign up for a free trial and then sign up for a paid monthly version for a few months and then give it up after a few months. What's a few £100 to a company? So they'll actually churn very early on, but you think right away, yes, they've paid us money, we must be doing something right. But until they're actually using it and they're still there a year later, it's not a fit, not guaranteed. And also remember that your users change. When we first launched ProdPad, our early users were on there for, 2 months or 6 months or however long the product had been around. They were all part of one basic cohort, and they're all novice users. Some of those users are still with us, but they're our most advanced users who are now asking for more and more in-depth functionality to solve more and more in-depth problems. So we're having to build for those users and possibly losing them if we can't keep up with their ongoing need to work more with the tool. But at the same time, still build for new cohorts of new users who are novices who want things even more simple than before. That's really hard. So keep in mind that as your users grow, they might outgrow you if you don't consider how they're going to change. So how do you get to this product market fit? So talk to people. And I think, John, I mean, that was really impressive, talking to 300 odd customers and also counting how many. Okay, that's cool. And we did the same thing. We just got on the phone, did demos over and over and over again until we figured out what kind of things they were asking, and building stuff into the tool and making sure that they had all the help they needed to go. But also talk to the people who don't like you. I mean, if you first launch your product and you've got, let's say, a 5% conversion rate, that's great to start, yay. But that means that 95% of people who try your product aren't paying you for it, decided not to buy it. So, what does that 95% have to say about it? Go talk to them. So we actually have like a little bit of an exit survey that asks people, what didn't you like about it? Why didn't you buy? Is there anything we could have done to help? And admittedly, the completion rate on that survey isn't great, but the insights we get from it are pure gold. Same thing, if somebody's about to churn, we ask them, hey, before you delete your account, can you just say one thing we could do to help out, or one thing that would have made a difference? And again, a lot of times people just reply saying, just delete it. But other times they'll come back with feature ideas or proper complaints that they have or other good reasons. And we can figure that out and figure out, why people are leaving. Now, I probably don't have to tell you guys to A/B test your app and make sure that you've got the optimal thing going on, but keep in mind that your product is a lot more than just the code and the interface that makes it up. Your product is the whole picture. It's your pricing, it's your channels, it's your proposition, it's everything. So don't be afraid to test other stuff as well. One thing that we've always done is tested things like the pricing. We've managed to get more money without actually changing the product itself, just by figuring out what the right pricing packages are and how we can line them up in the pricing page. We've been testing things like the trial time. We managed to double our conversion rate by cutting our trial time in half. Again, no change to the actual product. So things like this that, even just trying out different channels and different ways of reaching them and different methods of onboarding can make a big difference to finding a fit with your customers. And talk about your vision. Make a roadmap that outlines the themes, the areas, the problems that you want to solve for your customers down the line. And talk to your customers about them. Make sure that the problems that you want to solve are ones that are important to them, are the biggest, juiciest problems that you're going to be aiming for down the line. Because if you don't have product market fit now, you need to work towards that. You need to figure out what the bigger problems are. Only your customers can tell you that. So be honest with your customers. Tell them where it is that you think you want to go, and figure out from them if that actually makes sense and they're going to keep paying you if you go that way. So how do you know if you've reached it? One of my favorite tools is this one called the Customer Development Survey. Sean Ellis, he's also a SaaS co-founder, CEO. He developed this Customer Development Survey. You can find it at survey.io. And it's basically a simple survey that asks some basic questions, but things around the concept of how would you feel if you could no longer use this product? Or, what would you use instead of this? I actually find this one to be more insightful than the NPS, the customer satisfaction score. So I definitely recommend giving this one a try if you haven't tried it yet. So product market fit. One measure that you've seen out there is that if you can get more than 40% of your customers to say that they would be very disappointed to no longer be able to use your product, that's product market fit. Perhaps. I mean, there's other measures of it. It still depends on what they're saying about you and other measurements out there. But this is one that you can kind of use to quantify. Take a look at this question around where would the world be without you? Hopefully, people are going to feel the pain if you take away the product. You want your product to be part of their daily workflow. You want them to use it every day. And if your site goes down, you better hope that you get frantic tweets and calls and stuff like that. The worst is when your app goes down and no one actually mentions it. So you definitely want people to notice. You want them to care if you disappear. And this one's really insightful, and this is the one that I love from that survey, which is asking something along the lines of, have you ever recommended this product to a friend or to somebody else? And if so, describe what you described to them. How did you describe this product to them? Because if you're able to articulate your product in a way that your customers talk about you, hopefully in a positive light, this is stuff that should go straight into your marketing material, into your sales material, into your pitch. You should be talking like they're talking, as opposed to using your keywords and hoping that they learn them. So product market fit, you've achieved that when you've got something that's a scalable, repeatable business model. And once you've actually got product market fit, and as I said, this is further down the line than you might think. This is when you hit that initial scale level, when you're ready to ratchet up your sales team and double down on what's been working so far. What you don't want to do is do that too early. You see that so often where people say, yep, we've got 100 customers, good job, let's just go get a whole bunch of salespeople and I'm sure we can just replicate this. But the problem is that no one can quite sell your tool just like you can. Your first 100 customers are going to act differently than your next 100 and then your next 100. The stuff that got people in early, whether it's your content marketing strategy, your phone calls or whatever, probably won't work the same way for your next 300 or 500 customers. So make sure that you've got product market fit. Move slowly before you begin that scale process. And at the same time, I'll admit that as a product company, we're not in that position yet either. We're still working our way up there. So I'd look forward to your questions about where you guys are and how we can kind of compare notes. In the meantime, I just want to say thank you, and I look forward to chatting with you all later.
So, thanks, Janna.
Thank you.
Just a quick question around how you guys... Perfect timing.
You have to hold that for 60 seconds.
Yeah, I'm gonna hold my breath. Let's talk over it, actually.
Yeah, I can hear you.
How are you guys getting in touch with the prospects in the first instance? Like, what channels did you experiment with, and did you actually stick with one when you found something that worked? Or has it been more organic, and do you think that matters in the early stages?
So the way that we've done it is mostly organic. I like to say we had a content marketing strategy, but really it just meant myself and my co-founder blogging about, how we do product management or how we do roadmaps or whatever else. And so it means that we've done really well in SEO and people finding us, a little bit of word of mouth here and there. But we haven't started the whole cold calling thing and, cold emails and whatnot. Have read Aaron Ross's book, and it's kind of my next challenge.
Thank you.
Hiya. One of the most interesting lectures I saw at SeedCamp was Songkick. They talked to us about how product market fit is not binary. It's actually very variable, and it's not like something you have or you don't have it, and it's like a point in time where it happens. What is your thought on that? Do you think it's like a early product market fit, like now you definitely have it? How do you know if you actually have it? Like, do you have any idea about it?
No, I completely agree with that. It's actually, this is why I kind of said it's an illusion. It's hard to actually say if you have it or not. As a company, we've got happy customers and big logos and users who are crazy about us. But at the same time, I'm not just going to go double down and think, yeah, we've solved it now. So product market fit is kind of a slippery one, and you can kind of get it, but then lose it because your customers change, or the market changes, or your competitive space changes. So there is, and there's stages like problem solution fit, where you've basically said, yeah, I've been able to solve a problem with a product, with a solution I've made, but is there actually a market big enough for that? And really, you don't really know until you start proving it with bigger and bigger numbers and more customers.